Hi, this is Lindsay Reiser, and we are just hours away from the scheduled liftoff of the first piloted moon mission since 1972. If all goes well, NASA's Artemis II is expected to launch at 6:24 Eastern this evening. Of course, there's a 2-hour launch window, so it could go off as late as 8:24 p.m. It'll carry 4 astronauts, the men and women you're seeing here, on a journey around the moon, traveling farther than any human ever has from Earth before. So let's tell you about the crew. It includes Americans Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, along with Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. After spending a quiet morning resting up and reviewing the mission, they're now preparing to board the Orion capsule, where they will stay for the next 4 hours. This is the first time humans will be aboard the SLS rocket and Orion capsule. This is the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built. Weighing 5.7 million pounds at liftoff, this rocket will begin its 8-minute climb to space. And get this, it'll move at nearly 5 miles a second. They'll go around the Earth a couple of times to do final checks before giving and getting the all clear to fire their rocket for the moon. They'll fly around the far side, setting their eyes on sites humans have never laid eyes on before, and then using the moon's gravitational pull, or push in this case, to head back to Earth. Now, we know that the astronauts just got to the launch pad. They are going to be doing getting fitted into the Orion capsules, where, as I mentioned, they will be staying for the next 4 hours. Let's go ahead and listen to the official NASA broadcast as they get ready to do that.
Caps again, their helmets, their gloves, and remove coverings that they had on their shoes.
Yeah, so they want to protect the suits while they're walking out and up to the White Room, and now they'll finish reassembling those suits. Put the boots on, put the gloves on. You can see they're working their comm caps now, and they'll work the helmets eventually as well.
And so as we watch this process unfold, why don't we take a couple of questions for you guys, from you guys. What is the most difficult thing about preparing for a flight? Nicole, that question's obviously for you.
Ooh, this is a great question. You know, I think we get such good training. You know, this crew's been training for years, and so they know this rocket and this capsule inside and out. They know all the dangers. They know how to react to anything. So I actually think, you know, preparing your support system and your family, I think launch day is actually tougher for your family than it is for you. And, you know, we've heard the crew talk about the difficult conversations that they've had with their family to prepare for this historic test flight. And so I think, you know, the closer and closer you get to the rocket, the fewer and fewer things from Earth you keep. You know, they left their suitcases at crew quarters this morning. They left their cell phones, their laptops, everything. And so you are just a human in a spacesuit about to get on a rocket with all of your loved ones watching. And I think that can be probably one of the most difficult parts about today.
And while you were answering that question, Nicole, we did get a chance to check. Yes, this is the first time crew has signed the wall of the White Room, again here at pad 39B. Let's take another social question now. All launch windows happen to be in the evening. How come? Obviously referring to the April opportunities specific to Artemis II.
Right. You know, this is a complicated answer. I don't know that I would have the exact mechanics behind it, but it has a lot to do with orbital mechanics and where we are in terms of the Earth and the Moon relationship. And, you know, like we said, we're trying to get on that free return trajectory. And so it has a lot to do with when we can do the perigee and apogee raised burns and the translunar injection. So there's a lot of math that goes behind these launch windows and why they shift and move, and why we just so happen to be in the evening for the April launch windows.
Yep. You did answer it well. All right. And before we asked you guys a question, who would you take to the moon with you? Would that be a bestie, a pet, family member, or seasoned astronaut? Overwhelmingly seasoned astronaut. So, Nicole, you and I are going to the moon.
Was that your answer as well?
That was totally my answer. Again, like, I thought my husband would not like that answer because he'd want to come along too. But I think if asked, he would also say seasoned astronaut. So
that's fair. Yeah, like we said, there's a lot of training that goes behind it. These guys can react to anything that comes their way. And so, yeah, if you don't have all that training, maybe you do want someone that's a little bit more experienced.
Yep. So correct answer, everyone. And now we have another question for you. What do you want to know about living in Orion? What the crew eats, how the crew sleeps, how to fly the vehicle, or how free time is spent? Another great question.
Ooh, yes, I'm excited to see what they say.
Yeah, so head to NASA's Instagram or Twitch accounts to vote, and we'll share the results as soon as possible. And while you're doing that, remember to also sign up to be a virtual guest for this mission. Just go to the link we'll pull up on your screen. As a virtual guest, you will get mission-specific information, notifications of any schedule changes, and curated resources straight to your inbox. You will also receive commemorative stamps for your virtual passport after launch and splashdown. Again, we really, really want you guys to engage with us, engage with this mission, come along with us for the ride. So yeah, take advantage of these opportunities to be a part of it.
Yes, it's a mission for all.
And so back in the suit, no, not the suit-up room, the white room. Well, they're suiting up. You can see why.
Well, we certainly love watching these final preparations as the astronauts get ready to board the Orion capsule, which will take humans into space for the very first time. Remember, Artemis I took Orion and the SLS into deep space without humans on board. Let's go ahead and bring in senior national correspondent Mark Strassmann from the Kennedy Space Center. And Mark, I want to know their meditation routine, because from the moment that they got that wake-up call at 9:30 in the morning to now, my heart would be racing. They are all cool as cucumbers, which I'm sure is a prerequisite for being an astronaut, which is why I'm here and not there. One reason.
Well, maybe, Lindsay. I'd like to think you could do it too. I do if you set your mind to it. But here's the thing. I mean, I was talking with Nick Hague, the former astronaut, and you know, they're humans first and foremost, and they're going to be fighting some adrenaline issues too, right? I mean, they're excited about this. They know it's a big moment. They've trained for it for the last 3 years. They know that there's a lot at stake for this. They know it's a test flight. They know that there's a lot that they don't know, and that they're going to discover over the next 9 days in this loop around the moon. And so they, despite their training, and their training will serve them well in this moment and in all moments, they are also going to be, you know, fighting the everyday sort of nerves and excitement that the rest of us would anticipate feeling if we were placed in that kind of moment too.
So maybe Enya playlist aside, take us through what their day has looked like and what these next 4 hours are going to look like, because once they're in Orion, they can't leave.
No, they can't leave. I mean, you know, they got up, they slept in, they got up, they ate, then they eventually made their way to where they suited up, right? And that was the first sign that you know what, this is actually looks like it's going to happen. They eventually were driven 15 minutes to launch pad 39B, which is 4 miles from where I'm standing. And from there, they arrived at the mobile launch tower. There are 2 sets of elevators that they have to take to go to the top. They walk across the horizontal crew access arm, and they begin to strap into the capsule one by one. That's a process that takes about 40 minutes. And then they sit. And they sit some more, and they wait for various systems to be checked out, the final checklist to be run through, and until they get the word that, you know what, it looks like we're going to do this. But there's a lot of sitting and waiting, and I would imagine, again, a little bit of fighting excitement and nerves and whatever. Good news is that 3 of the 4 astronauts have been through this before. Only Canadian Jeremy Hansen is going to space for the first time, but he's been an astronaut for more than 16 years. He's well equipped for this moment. I mean, this is a very experienced crew, and I've talked to them a number of times. Very measured people, disciplined people, grounded people. They have been well chosen for a moment like this.
And he's the first non-American to reach deep space. Okay, so
non-American, yeah, right.
Going 5 miles a second, up, 8 minutes to space, and then essentially they're going to orbit Earth a couple of times, do their final checks. Then what will it take to say, yes, you have the green light to launch your rocket toward the moon?
And think about that, when they're in orbit, moving 17,500 miles an hour, New York to Los Angeles, 10 minutes. Okay, so they're moving. They go through a number of things. There were 3 different burns that get to a certain orbit. They will go through they want to make sure that the life support system is working. They want to make sure that their deep space communication system is working. They want to give the NASA management team every reason to meet tomorrow and say, you know what, we're good to go. And that's when the TLI happens, the translunar injection, and that is the final burn that takes them on their way to the moon. It's about a 4-day trip to the moon, loop around the far side and come on back, splash down about a little more than 9 days after they launch. And so there's still a lot to happen here, but for the crew right now, there really is just once they strap in, there really is just a sense of anticipation. Let's do this thing, I'm sure is what they're thinking.
And it's not even a trivial thing, but also just figuring out, making sure the toilet works, right? Because this is the first time humans will be aboard Orion. A lot of their goals on this mission is to just make sure that they can do this.
This is a 9-day road trip for 4 people in living inside space that is about the equivalent of 2 minivans. And there's no getting out of, for a walk outside. I mean, you're stuck inside for the next 9 days. And so something like a functioning toilet, to your point, is a big deal. Can you live without it? You can, but you don't want to. And there are a number of little lifestyle choices and systems that have to really work. And that's what they'll find out with this test flight. Is this Orion capsule? It cost $1 billion, but it's his first time in space, first time to take people up in space. Let's make sure that all systems are working the way they should. And they'll figure that out in the next 24 hours and be able to give NASA a full initial report card that all systems are working. And yes, we're a go for the moon.
Okay, so let's get back to the next couple of hours before we bring in our next guest and expert here. So we're going to be watching for any type of potential fuel leaks, right? And any changes in the weather. What are the circumstances that could either delay or postpone this launch until the next window, which is tomorrow?
Yeah, the weather looks pretty good. I mean, we have predictions that we're going to have a band of rain showers come through, but there was no lightning in that, and it was all supposed to blow through before the launch period opens at 6:24 Eastern. And so at this point, you're sort of hoping that you don't have some sort of a mechanical, technical issue that requires a fix. And if you do, you're hoping that it's a minor one that you can fix right on the pad and within the 2-hour window continue to launch. If it's a major one, as they had the first time they tried to launch this crew, and then you have to tow it back to its garage in the vehicle assembly building, then there's a delay not just of hours or days, but of weeks. So at this point, everyone, I think, is fingers crossed. We're going through our checklist, that everything is working just the way it should. There are no leaks. There's nothing else that's going wrong. And we're giving, as I say that, we're giving NASA every reason to say, you know what, we're good to go. Let's launch.
And real quick, Mark, were you there for the Artemis I 2022 launch?
I was.
So I was there, too, for a different network. But, I mean, can you just help explain to people the difference and the feel and the boom? It is so hard to describe, but this is the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built. It is unlike anything you have ever before. It turns night into day.
It does if it's happening at night, that's for sure. Well, I'll tell you this much. When you're standing where I am, 4 miles from launch pad 39B, and then right next door is launch pad 39A, we're only 3 miles from there. You watch the controlled explosion, you wait 3 or 4 seconds, a wall of sound comes washing over you, and the roof where I'm standing, the building starts to rattle. I mean, it's an unbelievable sensory overload. Now, that's for even a routine rocket launch. This is the most powerful rocket that NASA has ever flown. And you just take that sensation I described and you just magnify it by some multiple, and you've got a moment to remember. I always tell people, if you ever have a chance to watch a launch in person, it should be on your bucket list. You should go out of your way for the chance to do it, because as a man-made thrill, there's nothing that is the equal of it.
Chills. It reminds us how small we all are, and it's our little bit of taste of what those astronauts are going to be feeling and getting. Mark Strassmann, we'll see you and talk to you throughout the day. Thank you.